The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100, that's what we're talking about here on the day. As you can see, we came right into our resistance once again on the Nasdaq 123 in the overnight session and then during the market, obviously, and rejected. But we're still sitting here kind of in this range, and we really didn't come back down to that bottom level support, which is really the level you have to hold in order to stay bullish. This is that same level that we were stuck below from essentially, July all the way into mid-September. So worth mentioning what we're watching for there. Now we go into ES, and again, the levels remain very true. I've made this very clearly on Discord, on Twitter, so make sure you're following. We came right back down into that little previous high SR flip that we had back here as well, where you bounced once again. You came right into that level from the Powell little speech that he had. And if you didn't know, Powell talked a little bit on the day about rate cuts and what's happening there as well. You dipped, immediately bought back. And again, this continues to make me very bullish with the market based on how we're buying back. Now, did we get a breakout? Did we get an all-time high push today? No. But again, you had big data or big overall news coming in, and you reacted well to that once again. So let's talk really quickly about what Powell said here today. Now, Powell indicated today, right? We put it on Twitter so you can go see it as well. But basically what he said is if everything stays the course of what the Fed expects, that you're going to get two more cuts by the end of the year, both of them being 0.25, right? That's what he expects, what they want to do. He did say they are not on a preset course, and that's what they're looking at right now. He said, based on getting a 0.5 cut, though, expressed their confidence in economic strength and sees inflation continuing to cool. He said that 0.5 cut was not out of fear, but based out of confidence in the overall market. Again, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you what was being said. Now, it's also worth mentioning as you continue going is you have more unemployment data, which he talked a lot about unemployment data and what was happening there as well. Then another big subject here that I wanted to really harp on in this video was right here. And this might have confused people, especially if you weren't watching Powell or listening to Powell talk. Beginning to see, and this was regarding housing inflation, because this has been the area that I keep saying is sticky and everyone's complaining about, like rent prices are too much. Beginning to see housing service inflation flatten out, but at a sluggish pace. Says as long as inflation in new leases is low, it will eventually show up in the headline inflation. What does that mean? That means if rent prices continue to drop like they slowly are, they're just dropping very slowly based on his words, it will eventually show up in headline inflation and home price inflation. What does that mean? If rent prices are low, the lower rent prices go, the more affordable and the more you'll see people going into the housing market. Again, what we have been saying. The housing market is not a bubble. If you think it's a bubble, then go outside and stare at the sun. We look at ES, and again, even here into the end of the day, you're finding more buyers, and this is what you ultimately want to see. You also see Dow buying back. We saw that little, higher low trend breakdown. You're buying back here near the end of the day, and I anticipate what you really want to see is this to happen continuously over the next few days as well, pushing back into highs, right? Now, ultimately as well, we look at what's happening with the dollar, okay? We saw the dollar briefly drop during today below our support of the 200 weekly SMA. Was very interesting to see that as well. But then you go into yields, which is the ultimate outlier here, and you want to see yields get weaker, but they are not. They're trending sideways, not really holding below 4% just yet. That's going to be your big signal there as well when you eventually get that hold below 4% of the 30-year yield. The 10-year yield is slowly coming down as well, just sitting flat right now, retracing. But as you can still see, both of these, the 30 and the 10, are still in that overall downtrend. Worth mentioning, okay? If they break up, you could see a little bit of upside there, but we'll talk about that when that time does come. But again, it's really important that we're understanding the breakdown of what happened from what Powell said. Inflation moving in the right direction. I think he was a little bit too bullish on unemployment data, to be honest. I think unemployment data could most likely gets worse, but we'll talk about that too. So that's where we're at right now. So we're looking at NQ. It's again the same thing I continue to say, and it's the same thing I say for Discord. In this range, it's really, really simple, okay? Below 1996, you are bearish. You are looking for clear-cut downside. That's disgusting if you get below that. Above 20,025, you're pretty bullish. Okay, I'm going to tell you that right now. You're pretty bullish about that level. But you're kind of like, and what I've done is really trade into the top of this range, and then when we get close to it, I just stop trading. I can't do it, right? I don't want to open up my risk at resistance, like go figure, right? And so that's what you're really seeing, is you're just operating back and forth, and really all you're getting here is back into this little bit of a range right now. Now, if we break down, cool, but I'm not looking to hammer shorts or anything like that until we get below that key level there. Now, again, going into ES, another very interesting chart you need to be paying attention to. So again, your level right here, 57.82. Now, this is the level that if you hold below this, you are pretty bearish. Now, again, we saw Powell talk, we saw this drop, and then we saw buyers push this right back up. if this is the candle that you get here on the daily, I don't know how you're not bullish. I'm going to say that right now. Again, a decent candle above that level. And what you're looking for here is higher time frames. If I'm looking at a higher time frame support, then I want to see a higher time frame reaction. So as long as we keep staying above 57.82, again, I am bullish. It's not being biased. It's just looking at the facts for what they are. Okay. Understand that. Now, we're going to be going over what's happening as well on some options as well. But again, wanted to highlight that. Now, for me, the only trade that I took here on the day was Meta, just to let you know. Same trade I've been mentioning to you guys, right? Above 564, you're bullish. Stay above 567.5. You're very, very bullish, pushing back into 574. We traded that in Discord. That was the only trade for myself. Jay did mention and does like Apple still. If Apple can mount and hold above 232, you look really good also. But again, you're kind of just sitting in this level up here, trying to break out. You kind of actually invalidate that supply right there on this one little wick that you had on Friday. But that's where we're at right now. We need to get continuation. We're not getting continuation as we speak. So again, above 232, all-time highs, very likely. Again, the same trend is what you're seeing, though, kind of across the board. I don't want to spend too much time harping on the same charts over and over, but I want to harp on the biggest opportunities, in my opinion. So number one is going to be AMD. I'm going to try to get you guys out of here really quick today, too. So you got the 200 DMA test, daily moving average test coming very soon, near 161. I think 162, 161 is a buying opportunity for myself. So again, want to highlight that. Also, too, if you guys don't know, Moomoo just basically updated their entire platform as well. They're always doing updates. The link is down below if you want to check them out. They have a bunch of specials as well when you sign up with them, so make sure you check them out. But what we're going to look at here is their new platform, and we're also going to go into AMD. Now, looking at AMD, when I go into options specifically, for myself, I don't love very far dated contracts. I like mid-Novembers. I continue to say this. I think they're affordable. I think they make sense. For instance, the 170s are sitting around $9 at 160. If you get there, you're almost up 45%. I think that's a good looking trade, and I think it's very likely that if you really bounce and get the reaction off that level, volatility kicks back in, and that happens. And you're also in a really interesting spot with SMH. As long as you're above 239, we know that I remain very bullish. But AMD, we were looking for that retest. You're kind of getting it right now. Chinese stocks, if you've been following my Twitter, and again, I recommend that you follow the Twitter. The link, again, is down below so you can check it out. I post charts, nonstop, tips, things like that all day long, what I'm looking at in the market, just so you guys know. It's another source of free content, so make sure you check it out. But again, something I highlighted and been talking a lot about is Chinese markets. And I am watching BABA very closely. Okay, I want to make that really clear. If you can hold above 104.9, 105, I'm very bullish on the name. Again, you want to have some decent stops set here because again, the Chinese rugs have been serious, but I am very seriously considering longer dated positions on BABA, even if it's just stock. Another name I like is Baidu. Again, these are just names that I like in the Chinese sector. Do your own research. Please don't blame me. You're projecting at 107. Again, I would love to see a 200 MA retest and hold of that level down here near $99 to $100. Ideally, when you're looking at these names, though, I think you got to be patient, and that's just my opinion, though, guys. I don't want to, give you an investing, crash course here. But when I'm looking at data positions, I'm very greedy with my entries. I like to be patient. I like to have clear cut levels that I'm watching here. And again, if I'm looking here, it's tight. It's going to be around $3, $2 a downside, but the upside is very large. Again, so you're betting on the Nasdaq bouncing though fairly soon, though. I want to make that really clear if you're betting on these names. I think stock is also a really great way to play these. Would be watching. Pinduoduo, I'm not a huge fan, but again, the trade makes sense too, above the 200 SMA, back into 152. It makes logical sense. What I'd be watching there, clear-cut resistance. Can't make that up. But again, they have a lot of competitors coming in with Amazon, but again, they're still dominating with Temu, so it's doing really well. But BABA is clearly my favorite name by far here, but be patient. Don't just start hammering names. Again, be greedy with your entries. I have to say that over and over. Make sure you're greedy with those long-dated positions. You have to be. You can't afford not to be. Okay. Looking at Tesla as well. I know a lot of you guys have questions. Again, you held that 256 level we had mentioned. You pushed into 265, came back down. I'd be really careful here. We had that 265.3 level marked out here. Again, it was a level going back all the way back here. So it makes sense you're finding some above 265, 266. This thing has fireworks. So really be watching Tesla, but be patient up here. Don't get crazy. And you really want to start saying that. And this, I can't harp on it enough. You need Nasdaq to help you here, right? I'm not looking to go long on a stock randomly. I want to see the stocks that I like move, but I also want to see them move in tangent with the Nasdaq. So that's something that I have to harp on and hammer home over and over here, because that's where, again, you're going to get the continuation, what you're looking for there. Okay, those are my top names right now. Netflix looks good if it can get back above 712. Be patient there. Not looking to get crazy. Also, again, CrowdStrike, you've been holding and getting a pullback since you hit your 200 daily moving average. As we mentioned, above 305, big opportunity. Really big level right now as well. Coming back down into 278, roughly 276. Really big opportunity, be watching that. But if it remounts 284, another long opportunity back into highs there as well. Amazon's showing a lot of weakness, getting back below 188. Google, another monster name here, guys. Monster name. Maybe one of my favorite long-term setups. I don't know. I mean, this is beautiful, right? You get the all-time high breakout, boom, boom, boom. You come back down, you bounce off where you need to bounce. I mean, this is one of the best looking names out there as well. As long as you're above 164, I've been saying it, you are looking to get into 178.5. Again, a lot of good names. You look at these pullbacks on NQ, and everyone gets scared and like, oh, well, you're not getting the moves. And I'm like, well, look at where some of these stocks are at. I mean, look at the bounce back that you're getting. Look at the hold up that you're getting here, right? So again, there's some outliers that look weaker than, but I'm just saying, like, the market as a whole looks very good. I'm very happy with where we're at. I'm definitely not leaning bearish yet. I've told you where I will lean bearish if you start breaking below these key levels. But until then, there's no reason to get into, be the first bear out there. There's no price for being the first bear. Okay, so understand that. That's my opinion. What I'm looking at in the market. If you have questions, comment down below. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, traders.